Hello students, welcome to the lecture on e-commerce and supply chain management. And after this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Discuss concept of supply chain management, define components of supply chain, describe mapping of supply chain, explain e-business solutions in supply chain, discuss logistics activities, and define importance of logistics in foreign investment. Let us first talk about the meaning of supply chain. A supply chain is a set of relationships between a number of companies who have a symbiotic relationship with each other in that one company supplies commodities or services to other companies, which in turn supply commodities or services to other companies, and so on.
When managing your company's supply chains, you're faced with complexity caused by globally distributed partners and locations, stretched logistics networks, and increased risk. Supply chain software from SAP can help your organization replace traditional linear supply chains with a responsive supply network. The software enables you to balance your available supply with market demand, collaborate across companies, departments, and business units, and optimize your planning, warehousing, transportation, and service parts operations. It helps you ensure responsive planning and collaboration, create integrated logistics and fulfillment processes, and manage the performance across your supply networks. Companies of all sizes, industries, and geographies benefit from SAP's solution. Achieve superior customer satisfaction levels by delivering the perfect order. Reduce overall logistics costs, improve logistics efficiency, and maximize throughput.
E-commerce and e-business. Internet terminology is still in a state of flux. Nowhere is this more evident than in the past use of the terms e-commerce and e-business. Both have been used to describe any business activity which uses the internet. Freight transportation. It allows production and consumption to take place at locations that are several hundreds or thousands of kilometers away from each other. The term e-commerce is increasingly being used to describe online retailing, for example, the use of the web to sell books. The term e-business is increasingly being used to describe all business activities using the internet, not just online retailing. However, the internet provides an infrastructure which enables individuals and companies to connect using a technology whose details are open to all and which can be easily implemented on virtually every computer in existence. One of the myths about e-commerce is that it is a comparatively recent phenomenon. The earliest e-commerce applications were those associated with pornographers. Indeed, a number of commentators have opined that the demands made upon the internet by pornographers have speeded the development of a number of technologies such as streaming video and the deployment of new business models.
Problem: you want to sell products online, but you don't know how. Solution: get an e-commerce website. The vast worldwide marketplace of the web is a huge opportunity to put your product or service in front of millions of people. So how can an online business provide customers with a fast, safe shopping experience? E-commerce. E-commerce is more than just buying and selling. It's the ability to accept payments, manage inventory, and create the actual shopping environment your customers will use. A web services company with e-commerce expertise will help you set up your site. Unlike an online auction site like eBay, an e-commerce website means customers pay the price you set. It also means you can easily change pricing and offer promotions and discounts. Let's use the imaginary company Bensel's Pencils to see how it works. Bensel's sells over 200 different types of pencils, pens, and desk accessories. People will be more likely to buy them if they can shop in a simple, easy-to-navigate online store and pay conveniently using a credit card. An e-commerce equipped website allows Bensel's to do several things. They can organize and display photos and descriptions of the pencils they have for sale using pre-existing templates or by creating their own custom look for the site. They can manage inventory because their records will be updated every time someone makes a purchase. They can feature new products as soon as they become available through a simple update of their website. They can accept secure payments instantly using either credit cards or a web-specific type of payment like PayPal or Google Checkout. They can also keep ongoing accounts so their customers don't have to re-enter shipping and payment information with every purchase. Since all sensitive information is stored and transferred using secure methods, Bensel's customer information is safe. The only thing left to do is select a shipping company to send out all the new pencils they'll be selling. Let's review. Websites with e-commerce can display goods or services for sale and accept payment for them. They provide customers with a safe and convenient shopping environment. And they help businesses maintain more control over their sales and inventory. Problem solved.
The concept of supply chain management is based on two core ideas. The first is that practically every product that reaches an end user represents the cumulative effort of multiple organizations. These organizations are referred to collectively as the supply chain. The second idea is that while supply chains have existed for a long time, most organizations have only paid attention to what was happening within their four walls. Supply chain management is the active management of supply chain activities to maximize customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. It represents a conscious effort by the supply chain firms to develop and run supply chains in the most effective and efficient ways possible. Supply chain activities cover everything from product development, sourcing, production and logistics, as well as the information systems needed to coordinate these activities. The organizations that make up the supply chain are linked together through physical flows and information flows. Physical flows involve the transformation, movement, and storage of goods and materials. They are the most visible piece of the supply chain. Information flows allow the various supply chain partners to coordinate their long-term plans and to control the day-to-day flow of goods and material up and down the supply chain. Let's talk about components of supply chain. Supply chain management is often a tactical pursuit, managing challenges and opportunities on a transactional basis rather than holistically and strategically. This less than strategic approach is driven by both internal and external influences that divert attention from a holistic perspective, in turn directing focus on distinct or unique issues, challenges, and concerns. Supply chain management must be perceived as a critical component of business strategy, delivering improved profitability through increased efficiencies, and vendor management strategy requires the dedicated efforts of a talented team. An even greater challenge lies with those who manage within the supply chain in having the ability to maintain focus on strategy despite the barrage of transactional issues they are immersed in. There are 6 elements of supply chain strategy. The first element is leverage. Despite the size and revenue of an organization, reduction and management of spending while continuously improving upon service levels is a significant benefit of managing leverage. Leverage has typically been applied based on historical usage trends and market expectations. However, the more powerful means to initiate leverage is through solid and supported predictions of future growth potential. The second element is communication. A significant component of any business is the support provided by external resources, be they service providers or product and component suppliers. Obtaining value from these external resources to meet evolving company objectives requires a communication strategy. Developing these models is an important component of managing information in a form that supports organizational strategy. The third element is efficiency. Process and operating efficiency is a fundamental component of any high-performing company, and the supply chain often impacts this efficiency either directly or indirectly. For example, improvements in production efficiency require increased volumes of supply of both components and maintenance equipment. Improvements in process efficiency require increases in volume and timeliness of support from external suppliers and contractors. Increased speed to market requires the support of accurate and timely freight management. The fourth element of supply chain strategy is innovation. Building innovation in any organization requires significant input and support from external suppliers and service partners, both of whom must be willing to provide insight and support and take potential risks in pursuing innovative solutions. The fifth element is risk management. Those organizations that represent and support company operations externally present the greatest, most unmanageable degrees of risk to an organization. Those organizations that represent and support company operations externally present the greatest, most unmanageable degrees of risk to an organization. External risk is often also the most disregarded risk, as it is not as prevalent or visible as other internal risk factors. Supply chain management is the function most in tune with external support groups and is able to identify potential risks as well as mitigating solutions to protect the organization's interest. Developing an effective and all-encompassing risk management strategy requires the support and input from key supply chain professionals. The last element is continuous improvement. The greatest performing organizations engage continuously in improving their performance. Continuous improvement also provides significant opportunities to reduce cost, and supply chain management is often the most adept and knowledgeable party relative to reducing cost through internal and external efficiency. Now let us talk about the mapping of supply chain. In order to describe the supply chain structures and relationships viewed from the perspectives of each of the three focal companies, results are presented for the main market of each supply chain. However, as sales always occur prior to the actual manufacturing date, downtime is used to prevent the production of unsold products. Logistic activity. It is literally thousands of years old, dating back to the earliest form of organized trade. Strategic activities. It includes addressing the size, location, and amount of distribution centers, facilities, and warehouses where goods are manufactured. Now we shall discuss e-business solutions in supply chain. Network technologies enabled by e-business standards have the potential to transform and integrate the functional elements of many industries. The internet facilitates the abolition of the trade-off between richness and reach of information, which means that communication can occur at almost zero cost without constraints on the richness of information. Richness of information includes characteristics such as bandwidth, customization, and interactivity. Poor management of information flows essentially leads to the so-called bullwhip effect that requires the holding of excessive levels of inventory. High demand visibility plays a strategic role in reducing inventory levels. Efficient and effective network-based communication structures in a supply chain have the potential to offset these effects. SCI and e-business are interrelated insofar as integrated business functions facilitate undistorted and accurate information sharing. In this way, optimal alignment of business functions represents the means to an effective overall SCI strategy. Let's discuss the e-business evaluation and concepts. Integrated SCM has generated much interest dating back to the 1960s because actions taken by one member in the supply chain can influence the profitability of all other members. Inter-organizational systems (IOS) such as electronic data interchange (EDI) have been used since the 1970s to link one or more organizations to their suppliers or customers through private value-added networks. Computer reservation systems in the airline industry were one of the pioneering applications within the domain of iOS, as with growing traffic airlines realized the need for efficient, quick, inexpensive and accurate handling of their inventory information to communicate with travel agencies and other customers. IOS are automated information systems shared by two or more companies and differ from internal information systems by allowing information to be sent across organizational boundaries. Inter-organizational systems often have interdependent benefits, and therefore the way in which a trading partner implements a system may affect the benefits realized by the other party. EDI in its traditional form is partially ineffective for allowing multiple enterprises to make use of common data and process models of the whole supply chain. It offers limited functionality and is problematic because it has not been standardized worldwide. EDI data is usually exchanged in batch fashion, which makes it complicated to handle exceptions. Recent developments in XML programming are enabling into a network facilitated by internet technologies. The adoption of e-business can result in benefits such as higher transparency, reduced transaction, manufacturing and other costs, reduced unmonitored corporate spending, and more centralized purchasing spend and more coordinated and efficient collaborations for such projects as joint product design. E-business may also facilitate collaboration and supply chain information sharing, such as order forecasts and inventory planning. Automate requisition and purchase order creation and integrate payment processes, and help organizations develop plans for the more effective management of sourcing and logistics. Let's talk about the logistics activities. Customer service. Customer service has been defined as a customer-oriented philosophy which integrates and manages all elements of the customer interlace within a predetermined optimum cost-service mix. Customer service is the output of the logistics system. It involves getting the right product to the right customer at the right place, in the right condition, and at the right time at the lowest total cost possible. Good customer service supports customer satisfaction, which is the output of the entire marketing process. Demand forecasting planning. There are many types of demand forecasts. Marketing forecasts customer demand based on promotions, pricing, competition, and so on. Manufacturing forecasts production requirements based on marketing's sales demand forecasts and current inventory levels. Logistics usually become involved in forecasting in terms of how much should be ordered from its suppliers through purchasing and how much of finished product should be transported or held in each market that the organization serves. In some organizations, logistics may even plan production. Thus, logistics needs to be linked to both marketing and manufacturing forecasting and planning. Inventory management. Inventory management involves trading off the level of inventory held to achieve high customer service levels with the cost of holding inventory, including capital tied up in inventory, variable storage costs, and obsolescence. Logistics communications. Communications are becoming increasingly automated, complex, and rapid. Logistics interfaces with a wide array of functions and organizations in its communication processes. Communication must occur between the organization and its suppliers and customers, the major functions within the organization such as logistics, engineering, accounting, marketing, and production, the various logistics activities listed previously, the various aspects of each logistics activity such as coordinating warehousing of material, work in process and finished goods, various members of the supply chain such as intermediaries and secondary customers or suppliers who may not be directly linked to the firm. Communication is a key to the efficient functioning of any system, whether it is the distribution system of an organization or the wider supply chain. Material handling. Materials handling is a broad area that encompasses virtually all aspects of all movements of raw materials, work in process, or finished goods within a plant or warehouse. An organization incurs costs without adding value each time an item moves or is handled. A primary objective of materials management is to eliminate handling wherever possible. That includes minimizing travel distance, bottlenecks, inventory levels, and loss due to waste, mishandling, pilferage, and damage. Order processing. Order processing entails the systems that an organization has for getting orders from customers, checking on the status of orders, and communicating to customers about them, and actually filling the order and making it available to the customer. Part of the order processing includes checking inventory status, customer credit, invoicing, and accounts receivable. Thus, order processing is a broad, highly automated area. The order processing cycle is a key area of customer interface with the organization. It can have a big impact on a customer's perception of service and therefore satisfaction. Packaging. Packaging is valuable both as a form of advertising, marketing, and for protection and storage from a logistical perspective. Packaging can convey important information to inform the consumer. Aesthetically pleasing packaging also can attract the consumer's attention. Packaging can ease movement and storage by being properly designed for the warehouse configuration and materials handling equipment. Parts and service support. In addition to supporting production through the movement of materials, work in process, and finished goods, logistics also is responsible for providing after-sales service support. This may include delivery of repair parts to dealers, stocking adequate spares, picking up defective or malfunctioning products from customers, and responding quickly to demands for repairs. Traffic and transportation. A key logistics activity is to actually provide for the movement of materials and goods from one point of origin to point of consumption, and perhaps to its ultimate point of disposal as well. Transportation involves selection of the mode, example, air, rail, water, truck or pipeline, the routing of the shipment, assuring of compliance with regulations in the region of the country where shipment is occurring, and selection of the carrier. A study done by International Chamber of Commerce states logistics can be the crucial factor in foreign direct investment. A World Bank study also has noted that the quality of national logistics services is now a major detriment of capital flows into developing countries. The connecting to compete. Trade Logistics in the Global Economy Study and its associated Logistics Performance Index (LPI) rates the competitiveness of countries in a manner similar to the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Report and the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business survey. This is the first year of the study, which will be released on an annual basis. It was compiled through a survey of 800 freight forwarders and express carrier in 100 countries. The biggest source of costs is not really transportation cost, such as freight costs, port and handling charges, procedural fees such as bonds, or even agent fees and side payments. It is the predictability, the reliability, and the quality of services that are much more important than the cost, said one of the study's lead authors, Jean Francois Arvis of the Bank's Poverty Reduction and Economic Management (PREM). Around the world, freight transportation infrastructure into and from ports and to the regions they serve is increasingly incapable of adequately handling current cargo volumes. These volumes are expected to rise further. Infrastructure must keep up with the pace of international trade. Freight industry stakeholders and public authorities must act now to eliminate infrastructure bottlenecks and to ensure the smooth flow of international cargo shipments. In many ports around the world, containers are piling high in many terminals because of transportation bottlenecks. This means costly delays, missed berthing slots in subsequent ports, higher fuel costs to make up schedules, readjusted schedules, missing ports, missed feeder and train connections, changed documents and penalties. World trade and commerce depends on sufficient and reliable freight transport services. So do the economic health of individual trading nations, their businesses, their workforce, and ultimately their citizens. The international business community calls for immediate steps to ensure that an adequate freight transportation infrastructure is in place to facilitate and move world trade effectively and efficiently. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Supply chain management makes sure that this process is done in an efficient manner and that the quality of the finished product offered to the consumer is kept in line with that company's standards. Forest operations are outsourced to some degree, in particular the logging operations on public lands which must meet certain provincial government requirements. Efficient and effective network-based communication structures in a supply chain have the potential to offset these effects. Internet terminology is still in a state of flux. Nowhere is this more evident than in the past use of the terms e-commerce and e-business. Both have been used to describe any business activity. Around the world, freight transportation infrastructure into and from ports and to the regions they serve is increasingly incapable of adequately handling current cargo volumes.